Please welcome Executive Vice President, Travel Unit, and Managing Director, EMEA at Amadeus IT Group, Maher, Koubaa, and Chief Business Officer at Wego.com, Mamoun, Hmidan, in discussion with Skift Executive Editor and Founding Editor, Schaal.
Contestant number 1, contestant number 2, contestant number 3. Will the real Tony Fernandez please stand up? Oh, you got us. Tony's flight was delayed. We'll let you know what time he'll be on today. So Maher, Mamoun, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. 2 very different companies, Amadeus, global distribution system, tech company doing a lot of airline and airports. Wego, an online travel agency, started out as a meta search engine in Asia, been in the Middle East for a number of years. So we're going to talk AI. And before we get into the details of it, I thought I'd ask you guys, looking back at all the various disruptions in travel over the years, you have the launch of online travel, you have the mobile revolution, now we have AI. How do you think that ranks in terms of some of those other disruptions of the past, and where's it headed?
Well, I think for now, since AI is kind of taking over the whole space in terms of conversations, the applications of whatever AI can give to the industry, I think that kind of a new revolution where most of us are trying to find the right space of it. So far, what I can say is there's a great examples of fantastic internal usage of AI for companies, but very minimal when it comes to external stuff from what we see. So more within companies, more within the tech teams, more on coding, more on product development, the normal usage that every company is encouraging, and at least we do encourage our team to use, the usual ChatGPT to make their work more efficient. But I think there are so many ambitious plans to what we can do to consumers and to enhance the overall experience, but very few I can tell that's been already applicable to the market. So I think that's going to be the 10 years.
So at this point, more internal than trip planning and that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis.
Sure.
So for us, AI is not new. It has been there already for many years. So this is unlike some of the buzzwords like we never hear about anymore, like metaverse. So AI is a reality. And for that, I think what happened is that the generative AI had democratized the concept of artificial intelligence. For us, in terms of ranking, we just, from an R&D perspective, just give some data points. Amadeus invests about 1.2 billion euros per annum in R&D. That's what we have done last year. For the last 9 months, public data, we have raised that by 18%. So what we are trying to say is that we are creating the environment to harness really the power of AI. AI for us has to be everywhere. So for that, for example, we are taking our technology stack into the cloud. We are taking as well all our data into the cloud to be able to really capitalize on the powerful generative AI. And we have multiple examples of that.
When you say generative AI has democratized things, in what way do you mean?
It means AI was much more, let's say, used from the concept of much more B2B, much more really for, let's say, use cases related to operational research, to machine learning, to deep machine learning, etc. Generative AI make it much more customer facing. For example, new use cases. I mean, when you look at the use cases before we had with AI, we had a handful of use cases. Right. Now we're talking about probably, just in Amadeus Pro, we have about 180 use cases that across the whole kind of a company that we're working on, just to say, the scale of using AI. And for us, that's what I was saying. I was saying that it's AI everywhere.
Right. So in the past, it was more the really big players that could use AI, that had the data, that had the
That's right.
the technology resources and stuff. Who do you think are going to be the winners and losers in Gen AI? in the future? There's always winners and losers, right? We saw from the pandemic, there were winners and losers. Some companies emerged stronger, some companies emerged weaker. Who do you think are going to be the winners and losers in AI?
I guess the early adopters of that. I think today what we are doing and what many of our peers are doing is in the market, that we're trying to use all the AI tools to enhance our customer service capabilities altogether, have it more interactive, more Gen AI implementation into the whole scale. We're investing lots and lots of money and manpower and technology into this, and some of the results are phenomenal. And we're bringing all the use case we learned over the past many years of what it could be, especially in our business model, where we, we're a meta search where people shop the marketplace using us. And also we are a merchant of record ourselves as well when we have our own OTA in the business. So we've got so many use cases for consumers to get in touch with us on the customer service level. And this is where we think that we're going to have all our FAQs, all the early touch points with the customers when they get in touch with us, be it on WhatsApp or chat or phone or anything. It's going to be more and more led by an AI, Gen AI content that will make it more interactive and more real, multilingual. We're going even further than that. Actually, we're going into slang. So we're gonna have AI speaking to a Saudi audience different to what would speak to an Egyptian audience, and this is all going to be out there, I would say, within 6 to 9 months from now.
There's some companies are doing marketing or doing commercials now with a Gen AI actor who's speaking in local languages. You just have to make the commercial once.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean. We're doing some brand activities now. We're kind of, I don't want to disclose so much detail, but we're kind of putting some new elements into the positioning of the brand altogether. Right. And most of the creative, most of the work, most of the thinking is happening utilizing AI tools.
Maher, winners and losers in AI. Sabre wins, Amadeus loses. What's the deal?
I think the winners of the AI who are the ones who at the end of the day deliver value at scale. No? Right. And that delivering value at scale require all the ingredient for that to happen, and to be done in a consistent manner. So which means across all customer touch points, across all the channels, and that's where we are kind of concentrating on. And in terms of examples, whether it's B2B, B2C, or customers, I think one thing about this timing of this session is they had in the morning all our customers speaking about all the innovation that we have been doing. So when you talk about the examples of Dubai Tourism Board using analytics and machine learning from Amadeus to attract tourists into Dubai, so that's actually technology that we are providing to them. Great example from Paul Griffiths in terms of Dubai Airport. You saw the vision of the Tom Cruise with the Minority Report. So
we had to get into Tom Cruise. I don't know.
So I think we are the Tom Cruise there because we are delivering that to Dubai Airport, and that is very important. What Paul mentioned in terms of the accuracy level.
Right.
And for that we are using and deploying generative AI to get to the accuracy level. And the way we do it is we are simulating face recognitions, hundreds of thousands of people that are generated by AI, where we have different ethnicities, different variation of positions. And so we make our sort of AI, testing our biometrics AI to make sure that we get to a great level of accuracy. That's an example of applications of AI, for example, at the airport. Another example which we are taking much more from example in airline perspective. Today, independent from the context or the purpose of a trip, when you log into any airline website, you find the same website, same landing pages, same everything. What we are doing now with a few airlines, we are actually, based on the search, we are automating the landing pages based on the destination you're traveling. So the look and feel of the airline website will be so different from someone else who's looking for destination. And by that way,
is this your Nevio product? Or
no, it's not only Nevio. We'll come to Nevio. Okay. Nevio is much bigger than this, but it is really some of the capabilities where we are harnessing AI and saying, okay, how we increase the conversion, how examples that you have mentioned, how you increase as well the relevance in terms of the airline, providing much more content that is relevant to and linked to the purpose of the travel. And plenty of other examples since I have as well. So as we are running hospitality, airport, airline, travel sales, et cetera, payment. So I have in the room here as well my colleagues in hospitality, and they asked me to give an example on hospitality. And for that, what we're building a travel BI or hospitality BI, where we are helping all the hoteliers to look at, predictive in terms of forecasting the travelers in each destinations. And on top of it, we are putting on top our generative AI solution, where kind of really people can say, okay, just a conversational text search, how many, in when destinations, how many expect in terms of travelers, what is the forecast in a certain area. And we make that available for worldwide for our hoteliers. So again, it depends how much time we have. We have 180 use cases across the board, really. And they are concrete, they are live now with many of our customers.
So OpenAI just launched a search engine, where you can find real-time information. They have links and stuff like that. Some people say, a lot of people are using ChatGPT and Perplexity, solutions like that, to do their travel planning, So some people say, Mamoun, that OTAs are going to get left in the dust, that OTAs are just going to become suppliers to some of these generative AI search engines. Maybe for Amadeus, that's a good thing. You like being a supplier, but what do you think? What do you think of this is the future of OTAs in that kind of context?
Well, I think here I can wear the hat of the meta search, right, and say that we're
you got two hats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're in a pretty much the same ballpark where Amadeus are, right? So as a search engine, I think this is where we are, trying to put as a big project now to deliver in 2 years' time, where we really get the AI to enable our customers, our travelers to get proper trip planning, suggestions, all of possible ease of use in terms of planning, searching, booking, getting inspired. We do lots and lots of work with tourism boards. Obviously, we join hands, obviously, to get travelers educated about destination and think of considering doing it. There is lots of AI capabilities in there, where basically we can bring some of the inspirational sort of aspects and creative of that, but make it more transactional at the same time. So we kind of close the loop from getting people into the inspired, into the concentration, into buying with a proper full itinerary plan. And we did like a very early stage testing at the moment. I think it's very, very promising. So I think for us as a marketplace, it's pretty effective, and it helps the case. As an OTA, to your question, OTAs, if they don't really adapt to something similar as well, and they don't bring in some of those tools, they will be left as a suppliers, and as that, they will be just one of the feeds.
Got it. Maher, do you want to get into more detail about some of the things you're doing B2B wise?
I think
in Gen AI.
Yeah, I think, look, I mean, from an investment perspective, and the big tickets we have within Amadeus is supporting the industry transformation. And this is going to what you heard today, retail transformation. So this is a major undertaking we are taking at heart. We are trying to make it work for the industry, because it's not just about only starting with the airlines, but it's got to go kind of across all the industry. We feel they have the responsibility and accountability to take that project and invest in it. So this is what we call NEVIEW, which is our airline transformation program. We have been in an industry where it has been PNR centric for the last 60, 70 years now, where it's about EMD tickets and a lot of complexity. And today, when you look at the traveler expectations in terms of to receive the same type of experience that they receive from retailing companies, they would like to see the same thing happening in the travel industry. And for that, of course, the current artifacts, the current concepts of PNR ticketing are, let's say, hindering a bit, the agility for innovation in that space. Now, if you combine that with technology enablers like what we say in AI or Gen AI, and along with cloud data and others, so give us like a great recipient to say, this is the moment where we need to transform the industry. And for that, it's a huge undertaking because we're talking about an industry that is super connected, which means that you cannot just, move one airline and you say the job is done. It has to be moving as a whole ecosystem altogether. So the heavy lifting of the industry need to happen. The good news is that we have already started. We have Finnair, our first airline launch customer. From this part of the world, Saudia is a second airline in that. And earlier this year, we have announced British Airways as one of leading airlines as well to embark in this transformation. And while we do that, we, of course, we have to take in consideration how we are moving the industry from PNR-centric to a traveler-centric. So what's going to change in terms of customer experience? What kind of automation? What's going to happen to the touch point? What is going to happen to the distribution? What's going to happen to the different channels? And then you look at the ecosystem approach and you say, if the airlines are moving into that direction, what does it mean from an OTA? What does it mean from a travel sales perspective, from a corporation perspective, for business travel, for airport, for government, board of control? So all of that, it's really a major transformation that we are undertaking and investing a lot in it. And we are seeing now traction into the industry towards that.
Great. Mamoun, what about consumer-facing stuff that you're doing with Gen AI these days?
So the main important part is how can we get our search in a much more personalized way. So again, with all the data we collected over the years and with all the use case that we learned, we're trying now to make really the experience completely different from one user to another.
Right.
We've been known always as a kind of open to use sort of platform. Anyone can come to our website or application, just search and get the same pretty much kind of search results. We're changing that drastically now. We wanna every user to create a profile to tell us more. I mean, we know a lot from the behavior over the mobile devices, but we want to know more on the personal side of things, what their preferences are, how many times they travel a year, where do they travel, what's their preference when it comes to hotels, what sort of airlines they prefer, business versus leisure, solos, families, extra. So we're bringing all of that into our data center at the moment, which we already created years ago. And we're kind of putting all of that into a generative AI capabilities where we are heading towards having completely different search experience altogether, search, shopping.
What about voice search? How will that come into it?
Actually, we did a couple of trials so far. Yeah. I must say, first one failed.
Okay.
Second one.
Why did it fail?
I mean, language, like language recognition, accent recognition. Oh, wow. It's very, very hard, I mean, the way I sound, I mean, I speak English is very different to to an Australian, very different.
My Arabic isn't very good either. So.
Yeah, so it's really hard. And Arabic is get even harder, because you have so many dialogues and so many slangs. So I must say, first trial we didn't launch it. We just tested it internally. It didn't really give us great results. Now with what I was saying earlier, with all the we're partnering with some external technology providers where they give us fantastic use case that can go really to the language and to the slang level, and can recognize all of those together. And we tested it briefly. It works and looks very, very promising. I think that's what we're going to build on. So voice is going to come. But I think for us as a priority, personalization is like the key thing today.
I'm excited about the language translation aspect that's coming with Gen AI. OpenAI says they're coming out with something that could really change the world.
Totally. I think it helps increase the reach as well for many of the industry players, because it's going to be easier to have like a local website in the local language with the AI translation, for example. So that's an illustration of an example there.
An audience question, and this is a good one for you, Maher, because you have a lot of travel agency customers. Yeah. So the audience question is, what impact will AI have on small scale travel agents and tour operators? and other small B2B distributions?
Yeah, I think I would say short response is it's a positive impact, because I think when we talk about like small scale travel agencies, this means that they don't have the means of making investment. They don't have means as well in terms of, access to heavy resources, or kind of, take the transformation, what's happening in the industry. So on that, it's actually our AI capabilities will help them to do more with less. So that's really how we see it. And what we are doing as well, making sure that, and this is our role as, being a global player and playing in the industry, is to make sure that while we're doing all these changes, there's no one left behind.
Right.
And of course, today we have...
I think a lot of companies are worried about being left behind. A lot of hotels, a lot of travel agencies, a lot of tourism boards.
I'll give you an example. So what we are doing, just to illustrate some of the stuff that we are doing. When you talk about tour operator, that was one part of the questions. And we have the experience of going with NDC, which is one of the things. So tour operators will say, okay, if an airline give me an offer that is only available for 20 minutes, that's not good enough for me in terms of a tour operator. So what we are doing is we are helping building something, what we call the NDC shopfront within Amadeus, to enable a tour operator still kind of consume NDC content. So that's our commitment in terms of saying we do it globally at scale, and we're not leaving anyone behind.
An audience question: how is AI doing in terms of tracking marketing ROI from advertising to someone visiting the destination?
What for us, for example, when we started scaling and using lots of marketing budgets in this part of the world, right? So I'm talking 10 years ago, where we had to build lots of big spreadsheets with Excel like anybody else, and kind of building our cohort and lifetime value, and kind of track every activity and every dollar we put and what software we build on that. And that was all built on assumptions that worked most of the time, failed sometimes. Today, with AI, with the availability of tools and the data sets we have in place, the automation of that is like, taking over everything. It's like you just need to apply a couple of logics there and leave the machine to do everything, and it's working fantastically well. And when we talk about destination visitation, again, from our experience working with the tourism boards and doing lots of joint marketing activities today, the world is changing completely. Now we buy outdoor on a programmatic basis, for example. We just bid on the space, and the ad is out there, and you can definitely link some performance to that based on viewership, based on what's been done, and you can do like the brand lifting studies and see how people are reacting to that destination and how do they come to Wego to shop for the destination. So it is a fantastic tool, I think, available today for all marketeers to utilize, be it on the OTA, on the airline, or on the destination base. And we're not leaving any opportunity behind when it comes to this, because this is basically is making everything way more efficient.
Is it hard for your companies to recruit enough talent to work on Gen AI and to, further innovate?
I would say, of course, there's competition on talent everywhere, no? And for us, I think the fact, what I mentioned earlier, we invest in heavily in terms of new technology, and that investment in new technology act as a magnet for talent. Because talent want to work on the latest technology. People are changing jobs to join companies who are really investing in the latest technology, because this is how they want to reach their experience. And our experience, from the last, 2-3 years, especially post-COVID, we have been increasing our workforce, especially attracting technologists from around the world, which is very important now. So we have R&D centers in Manila, in Bogota, in Istanbul. So we are diversifying as well where we are attracting talent, and including as well here, we're developing our presence here in the Middle East, which is an important in terms of customer proximity, in terms of as well playing the role of a partner. So it's not necessarily only a transactional approach as well with customers, but as well we are helping to bring and attract talent in the region. The other thing is as well, it's our all investment in terms of diversity and inclusion, making sure that we are a great workplace to work. I think the combination of these two help us, to be really not so far touch wood. We don't have any issue with attracting those kind of really great talent in the industry.
Right. A non-AI question. We have in the last few seconds, Mamoun. You guys launched Shop Cash in Dubai. Why Dubai, and what's that about?
Well, this is, I always call it a COVID cooked product, right? So during COVID, that the travel market obviously was down, was paused. So at the same time, all the e-commerce shopping behaviors were kind of rising around that time. So we saw some examples happening in Asia and some other parts of the world where basically like the cash rewards and cashback applications are scaling. So we looked at this part of the world. It's covered actually. There's no one is doing it at scale.
Right.
And we put it out there around that point of time. It's working great. We're kind of scaling it now.
People are using it.
We have a decent chunk of people. It could be more.
Okay.
It's time. We were just trying to make sure that we have the right product fit,
Right.
which we are very confident about now. We're just gonna keep on scaling it.
Great. Well, thanks to both of you.